Here are a few questions. Would you like to be a successful leader? Do you want to work for an organization that has a culture of success? Do you want to leave a legacy that will make a difference in the world? If you answered yes to any of those questions, you're in the right place. If you didn't answer yes to any of those questions, you may be in serious denial. Over the last 10 years, our speaker has given talks throughout the country on a variety of leadership topics. Some of his professional experience includes professional basketball overseas, dean of student affairs at a 2-year college, leadership facilitator and mentor, and ordained minister. He is the author of 2 books, The Man I Never Knew, How Leadership Can Be Developed by Faith, Family, and Friends, and Live Life on Purpose, From Discovery to Practice. Here to share with us the real truth to pure, honest, authentic leadership with regards to his Live Life on Purpose mentoring program, please welcome from Ellisville, Mississippi, speaker, author, trainer, and Mr. Clean lookalike, Dr. Samuel Jones.
First of all, I was raised by my grandmother. I grew up in the heart of the Mississippi Delta, and that's probably maybe one of the poorest parts of the state of Mississippi. But growing up with my grandmother, she did not have a formal education. And my grandmother drove a school bus for 30 years. And so she taught me a lot of things about life. She taught me a lot of things about leadership. She taught me a lot of things about faith and the Bible. But the most important thing she taught me is about loving myself and being the best person that I can possibly be. And so as I grew up through the chain and didn't really have a vision for an education, and being a high school athlete allowed me an opportunity to get a scholarship to go to college. And that really gave me a bigger vision for my life. Of course, most high school athletes, everybody wants to play professional basketball, football. And I was afforded the opportunity to go overseas and play professional for a year. And when I came back to the States, this is truly when my life changed because God spoke to me and told me that I was supposed to be doing something else, and I didn't realize what something else was. And so when I came back to the States, I worked a lot of odd jobs here and there, but at the end of the day, I found myself working in a factory, and I looked around. I was probably the only person that had a college degree. And that was truly when my life changed, because I really got serious about my spiritual life and eventually got involved in my church and started dating my wife. And I came to the college that I currently work at now as the Dean of Student Affairs. I came there as the assistant basketball coach. And really that's when my leadership began to grow, because I realized there were so many more opportunities out there for myself, and eventually went back and got a master's degree, a PhD, and eventually started writing books.
I bet when you were at the factory and you had that sort of moment of like, what am I doing here? I've got a college degree. A lot of people think that the college degree is like a passport. It gets you somewhere, but that's not necessarily true.
Exactly. And for me, it was just humbling. It was just to let me know that just because I have a college degree, that's not going to give me any grand opportunities. It's not going to open so many doors for me. There's some things that I have to do internally first. And for me, internally was humility and to try to start being a better person. And I think that's truly what changed my life.
You mentioned you were an athlete.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for a lot of people, athletics is sort of a training camp for leadership issues.
You've
got
is.
A coach, you've got a job, you've got a mission with your team.
It is.
All of that is leadership 101.
Right. Correct.
Did you recognize that at the time when you were in athletics?
Not quite. I think when I came back from overseas and getting back on that humility standpoint, I look back over my life and all the teams that I played with, high school, college, professional, I realized that all of those things were leadership. And so what I started to do then is start transferring those skills from the court to everything else that I was involved in. That means trying to be a better teammate, trying to look out for my teammates, trying to help my teammates, all for the goal of the team winning, right? You know, at first, when you get out on your own, it's all about you winning. It's all about how many points you can score. It's all about how much money you can make. But I realized when I came back from overseas, it was not about me anymore. It was about how can I be a part of an organization and help other people. And so the assistant coach standpoint is really what helped me to learn that and focus on that a little bit more and learn all and apply all the things that I already learned. I've always seen myself as more than just an athlete. And that's my hope and prayer, that a lot of athletes out there will find that they only have athletic ability, but they have a mind, and there's some great things on the inside of them other than just the sports they're playing.
A lot of people, they don't realize, maybe they're like you're saying, they're doing the sports because they have natural talent or they're enjoying it. It's more for fun, but really it could be a training for something that is more significant for their overall life. But maybe they don't appreciate that at the time.
Yeah, at the time, I don't think they do, and I don't think even professional athletes appreciate it at the time. I really hope and pray that they realize that even the opportunities that they have at that level, it's just a platform for them. That's pretty much all it is. And whether you're an athlete or whether you're someone that can sing well, or, you perform in performing arts, fine arts, all of those things are platforms for us to show the inner gifts that are in us. Because, athletes, they're not going to play those sports all of their lives. At some point, they're going to have to put it down.
I like that word, platform. Tell us a little bit more about that.
For me, athletics has really provided me with a great platform to express my faith, to express how I care about people, to express what I believe. And I think that's important, and the world needs more of that. If you think about it, on all the news, every time you hear the news, 90% of the news is negative. And sometimes our mind, we believe that. We believe that this world is a bad place and there's evil people all around us. And part of that is true. But I also think that there are some great things happening in the world. I think there are great people in the world. But I believe it's important for us to find that way to express truly what do we believe. But I think we have to go internally first, because if we don't go internally, we're going to go without. And for me, this whole leadership journey has been about me going internally first and learning truly about who I am as a person.
When you say the word platform, though, I also think the word that just popped into my mind is opportunity. The platform is an opportunity. And a lot of people, I wonder, maybe they just go through life not seeing those types of opportunity. But you can be in any position and demonstrate leadership. You don't have to be necessarily at the top.
Exactly. And I think that's one of the biggest lessons my grandmother taught me. It's not about what you have. It's not about the title you have. It's not about possessions. It's not about any of those things. You can perform leadership at any level in life. And so for me, being in that facility with a college degree and looking around, I realized, yes, I was leading in there also, but also this is an opportunity for me to humble myself and truly find what else can I give the world. Yeah.
Your grandmother's platform was the school bus.
Exactly. It was a school bus, and she treated everybody like they were kings and queens. And so for me, even having a PhD and being an author right now and all of those things, they sound great. My foundation is who I am and what I believe. And I always want to keep that the foundation of who I am, no matter how much success I have. And to be honest with you, success is just progress. That's all it is. It's progress. So
let me correct myself. Her platform was a school bus and you.
Exactly. Yeah. Great stuff. And even in my first book, The Man I Never Knew, How Leadership Can Be Developed by Faith, Family, and Friends, I try to always express that in that book, because I talk about her. Probably one of the most humbling experiences for myself is to really get a greater vision for myself is when I finished my PhD. And I talk about this in the book, and we were driving back, and my wife and my mother and father-in-law were in the truck with me, and they're all asleep. But I'm driving on the road, and all of a sudden it just hit me about thinking about my grandmother and how I was raised. And she didn't have an education, and she drove me, and she pushed me, and she encouraged me, and she challenged me. And here it is now. I have a PhD. Not because of me, but because of what she put in me. And I think that's really important, that we all take a step back sometime and really think about our journeys as to where we came from, how our families struggle, how our forefathers struggle, and to appreciate where we are right now. No, we may not have everything we want in life. No, we may not have the positions we want in life. But that's not what makes us. I think what makes us is truly what we believe in, how we can experience our own personal relationships. And that's what I want to do for other people.
I like to always give a little bit of attention to when things are not going right.
Sure.
Let's talk about what are some of the things that usually come up when there is a crisis in leadership, when there is a lack of leadership. Are there some typical things that we might notice when there is a leadership problem?
Yes. I believe the biggest thing is we like to look externally whenever there's a crisis. It's very easy to find issues and problems outside of us. It's easy to blame other people. It's easy to blame experiences. But the hard thing is to do is to look internally. It's to first of all say, okay, I know this crisis is happening right now. What do I need to do immediately right now? And then the second thing is, what can I learn from this? That's a growth mindset right there. When bad things happen, to say, what can I learn from this? I know I can't fix it. I know I can't change it, but how can I allow this to help me be a better person? You know, one of the biggest crises I've ever had in my life growing up with my grandmother is not really knowing who my biological father was. You know, I grew up with that my whole life. And I looked around me and I saw a lot of my friends with their dads. And I started internally justifying why I was the way I am, right? I could have easily used that as a crutch. And sometimes that's what we do. That's the easy thing. The easy thing is to say, well, I'm acting this way because X, or I can't do this because of Y. That's the easy thing to do. And most of the time in a crisis, that's what happens with people, because that's not forcing you to think. But as I got older, I realized that's a problem I had. And so I had to change that. And how can I use this to help me be a better person? How can I use this to help other people? And so for me, my crisis was not knowing who my biological father was and is. Still to this day, I don't know who he is. But I want that to be an example for other people. Maybe they've lost a loved one. Maybe they don't know who a parent is. Maybe whatever it is. But how can you look at that situation and allow it to help you be a better person?
So you had this personal challenge.
Correct.
And you took it in a positive direction.
Correct.
But we all know that there are people who have challenges.
Correct.
And they go in a negative direction.
Correct.
What do you think is the biggest difference between you taking it in a positive direction and people who go off the rails?
I think the biggest difference is the vision that they have for their lives. Everything that I've been a part of is really forced me to have a bigger vision for who I am, whether that's getting a PhD, whether that's going to college and playing basketball and getting that college education, whether that's getting married and trying to have a family and trying to be a husband, something that you had never seen growing up. So all of those things have always forced me to have a bigger vision for my life. And so for anyone else that's deciding to take the other route, I would challenge them to find a bigger vision in your life. You know, how can you use one situation to make you better? Look around. How can you be grateful for what you already have? Look around. Can you find ways to serve your family, serve your community, serve your church? And so those two things right there would take all the focus off yourself, because sometimes we think the crisis we have in our life is the biggest thing that's ever happened. We started using a magnifying glass on our own lives, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and we don't think about anybody else. So I would encourage anyone that has any issues or challenges in their life to take your eyes, take your vision off of yourself and put it on other people. And I guarantee you'll start appreciating and being grateful for what you do have. And I think that's what people need to do.
In a way, you're telling us to start really small with the smallest little issue. And I think some people get caught up because all they can see is the big, giant scope. And it almost feels, and I use that word very deliberately, it feels like starting with just a small thing won't make any difference. Can you say anything about that?
Yes. Feelings, they change and they lie. If we think about the weather, you know, sometimes it's nice and warm and it really feels good. And next time we go out, it's scorching hot. Well, our feelings is something physical. We can't put trust in our feelings. You know, from a spiritual side, it really takes your mind off of these things that we feel and we think about how life is and what we experience. But if we can start small, everything starts small. You know, even if you're going to climb the highest mountain in the world, it's still going to take one step at a time. You can't say, I'm going to run this mountain to the top. You'll never make it. Everything takes time. It didn't happen overnight. It's not going to be fixed overnight. And so I would encourage people to just start small. Just start being consistent in something small. And then turn around and look back and just see progress. Because once again, success is progress. That's all it is. That's all success is, progress. I've always challenged people to when I do a training session to go back and try to find a 5-year-old picture of themselves. On my first book, you'll see that on my cover. And I was 5 or 6 years old, and I had a small little afro, and I was smiling with a suit on. And when I first wrote that first book, The Man I Never Knew, I wanted that to be an image of that little boy saying, the man that I never knew, because the man that I am now, I never knew I could be who I am now. And so I want to help people find that person that they can be. Because when you go back and look at yourself at 5 years old, you'll say, wow, I was dressed up in that. But then not only that, that 5-year-old did not envision you being the person that you are right now. And that's all that progress and success. We forget that. And I think it's important to keep that in heart. To say at 5 years old, it's a lot of things I didn't have. But wow, I still made it. So we got to be reminded we're still here and we're still making it. And start from there. You can't change yesterday, but you can change tomorrow.
You can always change tomorrow.
You can always change tomorrow by what you do today.
How do we encourage that bigger vision for others? Not only for ourselves, but how do we encourage other people to see that bigger vision for themselves?
I think we have to paint a picture. For me, painting a picture with words, painting a picture with challenging people in how they're thinking. If they say something is bad, help them find the good in it. I think you can help people have a bigger vision for their lives. If you can challenge people's thinking, I think you can change their life. Because that's really what changed my life, challenging my thinking. And so I try to read a lot. I try to listen to speakers. I try to learn something every single day. You know, people ask me and they say, you finished a PhD working full time in 3 years. I say, yes. And they say, that's really, really impressive. What was the one thing that you learned the most in that process? And I say, the most important thing that I learned in that process is that I can do anything through Christ who strengthens me. Now, people say that a lot. That sounds good. That's a quoted scripture that is always quoted. But when you can look in your life and see yourself doing something that you know you didn't know how to do, we all have that capability. I'm no more special than anybody else. But it's all about putting ourselves in the process, trusting the process, and being open to learning. And that's what I was open to learning. You know, I read this quote and it says there's two types of people in the world. It's not rich and poor. It's not black and white. It's not male and female, but it's learners and non-learners. And so I would challenge people to be a learner. Look around you and see what can you learn today that you didn't know. And that's such a humbling process when you say, wow, I didn't know that. It's a good feeling, though, because now you do know something versus you have a mindset of saying, I know that. I don't care about anything else. This is my world. This is what I believe. That's a fixed mindset. And so I think if people want to really change their lives, they're going to have to turn to a growth mindset. And let's look at ways you can learn. Even doing this interview for me, it's another learning process for me. Never done it like this before, but guess what? I'm excited because I'm learning something. And so it just reminds me of what else is possible in the world.
We all get out of school and we promise ourselves, I'm going to be a lifetime learner. I'm going to commit myself to learning for the rest of my life. And then what happens? We get very comfortable in our current state and we can easily get into a nice little cozy rut, right?
Exactly.
I think a lot of people forget that there's a stage of learning that's not so comfortable. And I think that discomfort is what keeps a lot of people right where they are. Would you agree with that? What do you think?
I would totally agree with that. And we have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, if that makes any sense. And so the only thing that I think can help you with that is, once again, that vision. If you have a vision for something, the vision is actually what draws you and keeps you going. Most people say, well, how did you finish a PhD in 3 years, etc.? I said, well, I had a vision of getting this done. Even though the program gave me 8 years to get it done, my vision for myself was 5 years. And so how did I beat my own vision? Well, God gave me a bigger vision than my own vision. Yeah. He showed me how to get this done in 3 years. And so the thing is, once you put your vision out there and you stay committed to that, and God will say, I believe God will say, you know what? I believe my child is really trying to get something done. Let me show them something. Let me show them who I am in the process. And then they will do things that they didn't know they could do. So I think that's where it starts.
Now, you have an opportunity because you were, first of all, you work in education.
Correct.
And you're a speaker. You get to speak to lots of different groups about these very topics. Is there something consistent that you see in the audiences that they really need to learn about leadership?
Yes. I think the most consistent thing is the lack of belief within themselves. I think that's what I see with every audience. You know, I truly believe we all struggle sometimes because we see other people living their dreams. We see other people confident in the abilities that they have. And when we get around and we see them, the first question we say is, can I do that? Really, can I do that? I really want to be able to do that. I want to do that, but I'm not quite sure I can do that. So it's the conversations we have within ourselves, the questions we ask ourselves. I challenge people to say, if you see me doing this, what is possible for you? And so I think every audience I talk with is always that lack of belief within themselves. And so I would encourage people to find that true belief within yourself. You're here for a purpose and a reason. I don't know what it is, but I think it's important for you to find that for yourself. And when you find that for yourself, money don't matter. Titles don't matter. All of those things, they'll come at their appointed time.
So now you have created this mentoring program. Your theme is live life on purpose. Where did that theme come from?
The theme actually came from my book, Live Life on Purpose. And since I was able to find my purpose in my life, once again, the bigger vision for myself is to help other people, to help other organizations, to help communities find that true purpose. You know, what we've been doing over our life, maybe that's been part of the things that we've been called to do. But guess what? That grows bigger and bigger because the need has grown bigger and bigger. And so I don't just want to help myself. I want to help other people find that purpose. And so I wrote the book with the intent of helping people, put together a program to help people. And so I figured out, maybe if everybody's not reading the book, what else can I do to get that word out there? And so the mentoring program is something that is dear to my heart, and I really want to help people. And once again, just help them change that thought process, because if you don't change the thought process, I don't care how many degrees you have, I don't care how many titles you have, your results will not change because the thought process is not changed. And so that's what the mentoring program is designed to do.
Do you think most people are living on purpose?
I think it's up to that individual. You know, I think it's important to know the reason why we do what we do. You know, there were some things that I was doing in high school and college, I was doing because of pain that I had in my life. And that was truly not part of my purpose. And so until I dealt with that pain, then I was able to find my purpose. And so for me, writing my first book really healed me from all the pain that I had in my life, because I was able to share that. You know, at first I was able to share it in writing. Then I was able to share it in speaking. And so I tell people, if you have pain in your life, one thing to do to heal from it is write about it and talk about it. If you don't express it, you're not healed. When you begin to express that pain, you're truly healed then, because you realize it's not about you. Somebody else have some pain in their life, and they need to know, how do I heal from this pain? How do I heal from it? When you start thinking about other people and you can share it, then you've healed.
I think that's a little bit, it might strike some people as a little counterintuitive, because sometimes people want to avoid pain.
Exactly.
That's what we do. We put it away. We don't talk about it. We don't express it, thinking that that's going to protect us.
And what happens with that process right there, the wounds keep getting deeper and deeper and deeper. And now we start acting in a certain way that's really counterproductive, right? So it's really self-sabotaging ourselves. That's what that process is. And so until we deal with our own pain, you know, for instance, if I'm a doctor, an NMD, and I'm going to perform surgery on someone, but I need surgery performed on myself, what good will it do if I'm trying to do surgery on someone else when I need surgery? Matter of fact, I heard of this case where this doctor was performing a heart surgery on someone. Halfway through the procedure, he had a heart attack. So he couldn't finish that procedure. Someone else had to step in and fill in for him. Right. And he had to go to surgery. And there's a lot of great people in this world that want to help people. But I would encourage those people to heal themselves first. Heal yourself. Truly experience your pain. So when you do try to help somebody else, now you can truly understand their pain. Truly understand their pain.
This is just coming to me now. You have this mentoring program that you're leading, and a lot of people are going to find out about it and come to it through their work, through their business. But you're talking about a lot of things that people might want to keep so separate from their work life, that they might be living two lives, their private life and their work life. Am I picking up on that correctly?
Yes, you are.
Tell us a little bit about that.
And the thing with that process is right there, if people heal themselves, they can be who they are at home and on their jobs. It's the same person. I can bet it's probably tired trying to live 4 or 5 different lives, trying to be 5 or 6 different people. I bet that's draining. And I believe a lot of people are doing that right now. But I don't think we've been called to live that way. I think we've been called to be consistently who we are at home, on our jobs, at church, community organization, events and activities. Be that same person. Just be who you are and be comfortable with that. And I know a lot of people struggle with that. And so once again, I want to help individuals do that, but also I want to help organizations do that, because I think organizations sometimes get so caught up in a vision and they forget about the people that are working for them. Yes, the vision is important, but how will the people really proactively support that vision? How are we treating our personnel on the jobs? How are we supporting them? Or are we really monitoring their needs in terms of what they need emotionally, personally, psychologically, etc.? Professionally. So I think organizations need that support. And so I want to help organizations do that same thing.
So let's talk specifically about the program. You have set this whole course up. It's a 6-month program.
Correct.
And I noticed you have a lovely metaphor. You have structured the program around the idea of building a house, building a building.
Correct.
Tell us about that.
Well, the reason why I did that is because everyone can visualize the process of a building going up. Of course, you have your foundation. You have to get soil samples and things of that nature. Most people don't realize that, but before you put a foundation down, it's good to do soil tests and things of that nature. So, do you need to bring in other types of soil to bring in to support that foundation? You have the cement foundation. You have to do tests for that. You treat the ground and you treat all of that for termites and things of that nature. All of those things are important. And all of these things happen before a wall or anything goes up. And so I wanted to paint a picture of a building or house, per se. That process of building something that you can visually see. Because once again, you want to paint a picture for people. They need to know the purpose of what they're doing. And I think a lot of times on the job, employee satisfaction, I think is probably low because employees don't know why they're doing what they're doing. Okay, you have me doing this task today, but what does this mean to the overall mission of the company? They have to make a connection. And so that was important for me to paint that picture like that.
This is over 6 months, which is a big commitment.
Exactly.
Why did you pick that timeline?
Well, I think 6 months I think a year is too long. I think 2 months is too short. So I really wanted people to be able to commit to something. And not only that, have some accountability for what you say you want to do. We're a people to where we say we want to do things, but sometimes we get outside of that rut of, I'm not used to doing this, so I don't know if I want to be committed to it. But I think if you commit 6 months to something, I think you're saying, okay, I'm going to make a commitment to this. And not only that, it's making a commitment for myself too, because it's stretching me. And I don't ever want to try to help people if it's not stretching me. So it's easy for me to say I'm going to mentor people for 6 weeks. That's not a stretch for me. But if I say 6 months, that's a stretch for me. And I want people to know that I'm making a commitment to them. And that's important.
I think too, that timeline to me says you're in it for the long haul. You want to see real lasting change with the people who are in this program.
Exactly.
Yeah. So let's go over the actual outline here. And I know that you mentioned a few minutes ago the idea of the growth mindset versus the fixed mindset. And there's a very famous book that deals with this very topic. And
correct.
I see it right here at the very start of your program.
Right.
Tell us about mindset.
Well, I truly believe anything that we want to build, your mindset is going to be the foundation. And all of these things I just said a second ago, your cement foundation, your test soil samples, all of those things are going to be your foundation. So anything that you try to build in terms of going forward, your mindset will always be the foundation for what you're building. And so that's why I have that at the beginning of the program, because I want people to understand where they are with their mindsets. You know, wisdom is really understanding where are you today. It's important to say where I want to go and where I've been. That's important. But I think the most important thing is, where are you now? You know, if you ask anybody for directions, the first question they're going to say is, where are you?
Where are you starting from?
I mean, where are you starting from? I mean, it's important to say, hey, if I call you and say, hey, I'm trying to get to California, how do I get there? Okay, but it's really going to depend on where you are. So let's find where you are right now. And so I wanted to help people to start the program by figuring out where are they with their thinking, with their mindset, so they can have a great understanding. Okay, I thought I was here, but I'm really not. This is where I'm at. And so I wanted people to start there.
Who do you envision really benefiting from this program, and where would you say they are right now?
I think anyone that's in a process of, from a professional standpoint, they're stagnant. They're not quite sure what they want to do in life. They have some hopes and dreams that they want to accomplish, don't know how to get there. People that have had major success, but now they flatline. They don't know what's next. Or for them, some of those people that say, you know what, I have no idea what I want to do or be in life. And I know I can accomplish some big things, but I don't know where to start. Also for organizations that's really that desire a culture of success, but it's, you know, they're using external things to say, you know, we're not successful. So I think for any person or organization that is really floundering right now, not knowing which direction to go, that's who this program is for.
Let's say a team at a particular business were to undergo this program. Where would you say that they would be at the end of this of participating in the mentoring program?
I would say that they would have some tangible goals and results that they can point to and say, we started this program here, and here are the things that we've accomplished together. That's what I think that would be the kind of results that people will have if in a team with this. Because I think it's important for organizations to have teams to do things like this. Because number one, each team member is going to learn some things about themselves as an individual. Number two, the individual is going to learn something important about their team. And number three, the most important thing is they're going to learn things about their organization that they didn't know. And I think it's important to where you can find those small. Once again, start small. Success is progress. Success is progress. And when people can understand, if I'm going to be on your team, for me to be the best team member that I can be, I have to be the best me that I can be. Because it's not about me putting all the weight on you or my other teammates and saying, well, y'all carry weight today. No, I think as individuals, when I can come to the table and be the best me that I can be, and everybody do that, success is coming.
Is there a benefit to working with an outside facilitator such as yourself?
Yes, it is. Wow, because we miss so many things when we're so close and we see it all the time. You know, if you think about it as individuals, sometimes we drive to work the same way every single day. And I can guarantee you, we're missing a lot of things that we're passing by every single day. We have a lot of blind spots because, once again, we get so comfortable. But when you bring someone in from the outside that really don't know your culture, don't understand your culture, don't understand why you do what you do, and they question that, I think you can bring that outside person can bring a lot of insight to really, I know you started out doing this 20 years ago, but really, should you be doing it now?
But this is how we've always done it.
And when you say this is how you always done it, this is why you're always getting the same results. And so when we want our results to change, we have to do something different. And outside eyes always help us to do that.
Yeah, I think that's really true. And I think it's sort of underappreciated. People, they don't realize what they cannot see about their own situation or their own organization. They really can't.
Exactly.
Goals and achievement are a part of your mentoring program, that's for sure. Why have you included that as part of a leadership mentoring program?
Well, I think it's important for people to have something to reach towards. You know, it's always important that no matter what you do in life, set some things out in front of you to say you want to accomplish, because those things, once again, is part of that greater vision. And that's what's going to keep you pursuing. Even when times get tough, when times get hard, you can still look towards a direction or something that's really going to draw you to it. It keeps you, it gives you fuel, it gives you motivation, it gives you encouragement. And you need that. A lot of times you don't have that from your job or things like that, but can you set that up for yourself internally? And so that's why I think dreams and goals and things of that nature is good for a mentoring program, because as a mentor, as a leader, I should challenge you. What things do you want to accomplish? I don't know what those things are, but maybe you do. And so I encourage people to put those things in front of them. And those goals and dreams and aspirations, those are going to be the things that keeps drawing you when you don't feel like it, when you get tired, when you just don't want to go another mile. Okay, remember those things you say you want to accomplish? And you remember how long you say you want to take to get it done? Okay, the time is ticking on you right now. Get it done. And so we all need that motivation. And that's what I want to use those things for people.
Do you think there's a power in spelling out your goals?
Yes, it is. There's power in writing things down. You know, the Bible tells us to write the vision and make it plain so that those who may read it may run. And that's what that is talking about. When you write things down, it's a reality now. It's good to have things in your mind. And I'm learning now that when I keep things in my mind, I don't do anything with them. But when I write them down and I can see them every single day, it's real now because it's written. And that written thing is what keeps me going. It keeps me running. It keeps me driving, even when I get tired, even when it's raining outside, even when I don't have any moral support, even when people are not telling me I'm doing a great job. That's okay, because I have this thing in front of me that keeps pulling me, that I wrote down, that came out of my own mind. And so I think it's important for people to do that.
I wonder if you've had this experience since you are a speaker. Is something happens between here, the thoughts that you have, and the words coming out of your mouth. It's a different experience from when it's in your head to when it's coming out of your mouth. And similar to when something is a thought and coming out onto the paper. There's a big difference between those two things.
There is a big difference because now we're creating things. I mean, even when we speak it and even when we write it, we are creating things. The most important thing is we're creating is an idea. I mean, ideas have changed this world. And so what ideas do we have that can change the world? If we just keep them in our mind, they're not changing the world. But when we put those things out on paper and out in words, they're powerful enough to change the lives of people. And so as speakers, as authors, as all of those things, that's what we do. We put ideas out there. And it's important for, and if an idea ever grab your mind, you know, Oliver Wendell Holmes, he said, once a person's mind has been expanded on a thought or concept or an idea, it can never be satisfied to going back to the way it was. And so if we can just expand our mind on ideas, we won't be comfortable with going back. I mean, that's the way I was when I got my high school diploma. I went to college and I was saying, I'm never going back to school. But when I came back and found myself working in odd jobs, went and looking around, I had a college degree and I was an assistant basketball coach. I said, I need to go back and get a master's degree. And when I finished my master's degree, the first thing I said is I'm never going back to school. But I found myself as the assistant dean and realizing probably I need a PhD in order to be promoted. And what did I do? Go back and got my PhD. And when I finished my PhD, the first thing I said is I'm never going back to school. But even with that process, I'm not in school officially in a college or a university, but I'm still in school, this thing called life. I'm still learning. So I can't go back to not saying I don't want to learn because my mind has already expanded so much. And so this mentoring program is about helping people stretch that mind.
In your mentoring program, is there something significant about being with others who are going through this exact same process?
It is, because you're part of a team. And it's important to know that the struggles that you have, you're not the only person in the world that's dealing with that. And not only that, someone else has had issues and they've been able to overcome them. It's another way of having great examples of seeing success Because when we're trying to accomplish something, if we think, well, I can't do this because I don't have this, but guess what? Your next door neighbor was in the same situation, and this is how he was able to overcome it. It's another example of success. So when we isolate ourselves and our goals and what we say we want to accomplish in life, we're really minimizing our probability of being successful, because we're not putting ourselves in an environment to be encouraged, to be inspired, to be challenged on what we think we can't do or why we can't do it. It's important to be a part of a team. And that's why I wanted to get about 10 people part of this program, and to so everybody can hear their concerns about what they're trying to accomplish, but not only that, how they're overcoming their challenges. It's important to hear other people overcome their challenges, because it really minimizes what you think you're challenged with in life.
Gives you a different perspective.
It does.
Yeah. So I know that people are hearing this and they are saying, I know that there's benefit to this program. How can they get involved? How can they find out more?
Well, first thing is contacting me on my website, drsamueljones.com. And that email is also drsamueljones@gmail.com. And what I'll do is I'll meet with individuals, I'll meet with organizations, and I'll sit down and just lay out a plan for them. The program is actually designed on my book, the Live Life on Purpose book. And so what I would encourage folks to do is really just try to help them find out where they are from a start. You know, this program may not be perfect for a lot of people. It may not be perfect for a lot of organizations. But I think for anybody that really wants to be successful and be sustainable in their success, I think this is a great program for them. And I think it's a great program for an organization.
I know that you care so much about people reaching their purpose and really being able to do the things that they set out to do. And it sounds like you're really ready to offer an ongoing support to those organizations.
That's the biggest thing I think I can tell people. After the 6 months is over, the relationships that I want to form with people, those things are still going to be there after the program is over. I don't see a mentor as someone that say, I'm going to help you do one thing, and after that, your life is over, my life is over. I want to create relationships, because this is what it's all about. Technology is so great. We can do so many things with it. But one thing technology will not replace, and that's these relationships that we have with one another. And I want to continue to embrace that, and I want this mentoring program to be the start of that, because I really want people to truly know who I am as a person and where my heart is. My heart is all about helping other people be successful.
I like what you're saying, because it's so clear that your focus, your own vision, is so much bigger than just our small day-to-day. You're committed to something much bigger than all of us.
Yes. And you know, once again, it goes back to my grandmother. You know, I saw my grandmother struggle. I saw her deal with life. And as a child, I didn't understand it, but I did understood that she loved people. Even though she didn't have a lot of things, she still committed and gave. And I'll never forget that. And so that's why I want to give to people. That's what it's all about for me. It's about giving, because I've learned so much more. I've seen a lot. I've experienced a lot. I've gained a lot. But I know it's not about me having all of these things. It's about me putting myself in a position to help other people. And this is another tool for me to do that. And I'm looking for, and I'm excited about it. I'm really excited about it, because I want to see people be successful. And when they're successful, then they remember back that at first I didn't believe, but now I do believe. And if we can get people to believe within themselves, then they'll believe within the organizations. And then the organization will believe in their people. And then the organization will not only believe in their people, they'll believe in the people that they serve. And wow, this world will be a different place. And I believe we can do it.
If you know that you or your organization could really benefit from this type of leadership mentoring program, be sure to contact Dr. Samuel Jones at his website, drsamueljones.com. That's drsamueljones.com. Or reach him by email, drsamueljones@gmail.com. This interview is produced by Branch Out Programs, branchoutprograms.com. As we close, please hear this message for you from Dr. Samuel Jones.
In my book, I wrote this poem called The Power of One. And the purpose of that poem, The Power of One, is to really encourage people to look around and find one thing that's going to motivate you, inspire you, encourage you, challenge you to accept great things in life. Even though I'm offering this program to individuals and to organizations, I believe it's great. But I think people won't believe it's great until they really accept what I'm trying to do. And so this poem goes like this. It's called The Power of One. And it says, one memory can wake your dream. One song from a bird, it can welcome spring. One handshake can lift a soul. One small accomplishment, it can score a goal. One vote, it can change a nation. But one positive thought can welcome patience. It takes one flower to begin a garden. And it took one word of forgiveness, and we were all pardoned. It takes one candle to light a dark, dark room, but it takes one smile to conquer gloom. It takes one hug to begin a friendship, and it took one sacrifice to prove the greatest test of leadership. And one heart will know everything that I said is true, but at the end of the day, it's all up to you.